Hi.
Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike Mercurial Veloce 3 DF, which stands for Dynamic Fit, in the Spark Brilliance Pack colorway. Now, being that this is technically a takedown model, it does not come with any extras. All you get in the box are the shoes themselves, and basically where this falls into the new Mercurial lineup is just below the Vapor 11. So you have the Superfly 5 as the most expensive model at a $300 retail price. Then you have the Vapor 11, which retails for $230. Then you have the Veloce 3 DF, which retails for $170, which is pretty pricey for what's considered a takedown model. And then below the Veloce 3, that's not really a takedown, but just kind of an alternate variation of the shoe, is just the regular Veloce 3. That's a low-cut model. That shoe retails for $40 less than this guy at $120. And if you're talking about the best value of the two models, it is technically the low-cut variation because, like I said, they're basically the same shoe minus the collar, which really doesn't offer any performance benefit. It offers a different look and a little bit of a different fit, but like I said, nothing that's necessarily going to make this shoe perform better in comparison to the cheaper model below it. So it really is personal preference as to whether or not the extra $40 for the mid-cut variation is worth it to you. It's something you really have to determine for yourself. But in today's video, we are going to be taking a closer look at this shoe, going over all the tech specs, because just like the Veloce 2, which was a shoe that I thought was a really good value just based on what it had on offer performance and feature-wise in comparison to the Vapor 10, a lot of that quality has carried over to the Veloce 3 and of course the Veloce 3 DF. It's not exactly the same as a pair of Vapor 11s, but it, like I said, does have a lot of similar features. And it's a pretty decent shoe. So we're going to go over all the tech specs in today's video, take a look at the weight, as well as talk about how these things fit and feel. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. And if you are interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video, where you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $170 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's go over all the tech specs of the Veloce 3 DF. Now, being that this is technically the first takedown model in the Mercurial lineup, it does have a good amount of premium features to it. The main reason why you'd spend the extra money over the regular Veloce 3 for the DF version is, of course, for the mid-cut dynamic fit collar aspect of the shoe, which obviously does compare to that of the Superfly 5, which I have right here. They're the same height, they're the same shape, and for the most part they feel more or less the same when you're actually wearing them. The difference is the actual material. The Flyknit on the Superfly 5 is what the collar is made out of. It's just a more premium yarn, I guess is the best way to describe it. Whereas on the Veloce 3 DF, while it does look quite similar, especially side by side, to the touch, it's not quite as nice, and that's really the main difference. Same thing goes for the elasticated strip running down the middle of the shoe. Again, it's not Flyknit, it's an elasticated material that feels quite similar, but ultimately not as premium. The rest of the shoe is a Teijin synthetic material, which obviously you do find on the Mercurial Vapor 11, although unlike the Veloce 2 and the Vapor 10, where essentially they were the exact same upper minus the one-piece design, this time around it's not the exact same Teijin synthetic you find on the Vapor. This is a similar material in terms of its softness and flexibility, but it's a little bit thicker than what you're going to find on the Vapor 11. Is this a bad thing? Not necessarily. It still feels quite premium. There's really nothing that's cheap about the synthetic material that they've used, but like I said, it's not quite the same as what you're going to find on the Vapor, which is a shoe that has an upper that I would say feels a little bit thinner and also a little bit softer than what you get on the Veloce models. It does have the speed rib texturing though, like you will find pretty much across the entire Mercurial line, be it the upper is synthetic or made from Flyknit. And this is more or less the same as what you're going to find on the Vapor. So one of those features that Like I said, it is kind of a carryover across the entire Mercurial line, but ultimately not something that I found to be really all that noticeable when you're actually playing in the shoe. And being that this is a takedown model, it does not have ACC all conditions control, so keep that in mind. That's a feature that you only get on the top end models, which of course consists of the Vapor 11 and the Superfly 5. Now, it is technically a one-piece enclosure for your foot in that there is no actual tongue. You have the collar, which flows into the top of the foot here, where it's basically stitched together, the two sides of the upper, and you have an elasticated strip through the middle. So when you slide them on, it does have a nice tight wrap, a nice snug wrap across your entire foot. Similar system to what we've seen on the Hypervenom Phantom 2 and the Hypervenom Fatal 2DF. More like the Fatal 2DF in terms of the actual materials that they've used, and it feels pretty good. You have the dual lace hole system because of this, and like I said, it fits quite well. Moving on to the heel area, it does have a very similar fit in the heel to what you will find on the Superfly 5, which of course you would expect given the mid-cut design of the shoe. Has an internal plastic heel counter. Inside the shoe there is a smooth synthetic leather liner with some decent padding to it, so no real complaints there. The insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a mesh liner on top and is made from basically the same foam you're going to find on the higher end models, which is nice. It's a really nice kind of dense foam material that provides some pretty decent underfoot cushioning and has some decent thickness to it as well. Moving on to the sole plate, this is another one of the more significant differences coming from the Vapor 11 or the Superfly 5 in that it's not a one-piece construction. It's a compressed nylon with a TPU overlay. So again, multiple layer type material. You have compressed nylon internally and then TPU plastic on the top layer, if you will, the part that you actually see, and it also is completely flat. It doesn't have that anatomic shaping to it, again, due to the more traditional construction process of this particular sole plate. So it feels a lot more normal than what you're going to find from the sole plate on the Vapor 11 as well as the Superfly 5, which are two sole plates that honestly I really like what they've done on the top end models. So I would consider this to be a bit of a downgrade over what the more expensive shoes have on offer in the Mercurial lineup, but this is by no means bad. It's relatively flexible in all the right spots, and of course, this being the firm ground variation, you get the new Mercurial stud pattern, which performs extremely well. It is the most aggressive firm ground stud pattern currently on offer, arguably ever made. The amount of bite and grip you get when pushing off in pretty much any direction is pretty incredible. And given the responsiveness of this material, the Teijin synthetic here, locks your foot in place really nicely. The tight fit of the shoe also really helps, and it's a fairly lightweight package overall. So when you combine all that with excellent traction, you get a shoe that really feels like it was designed and intended for those quick changes of direction and just kind of fast foot movement in general. Of course, that is a skill, and it really depends on your own personal abilities as far as how fast you're going to be and how good your dribbling is going to be. But if you like that super tight, super thin, lightweight feel along with really good traction, you will get that from this particular shoe, as well as the regular Veloce 3 and of course the Mercurial models above it. As far as weight is concerned, I thought we'd compare the Veloce 3 DF to the previous model Veloce 2 to see if there's any significant weight difference between them given the design changes that Nike has made. So keep in mind these are both in brand new condition and both the exact same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the Veloce 2, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 6.35 ounces, the equivalent of 180 grams, which is very lightweight, pretty much on par with what we got with the Vapor 10. Change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the Veloce 3 DF, and you can see that they weigh in at 6.7 ounces, the equivalent of 190 grams. So you're talking about 10 grams more than the Veloce 2, which honestly isn't a significant amount of weight in my opinion. And given that the Veloce 2, this being the only variation they made, which is low cut, and the Veloce 3 DF being a mid-cut shoe, there is more material and obviously more weight because of that with the mid-cut design. So the extra 10 grams, that's what you're going to get with the DF model. I would expect the low-cut version of the Veloce 3 to weigh very similarly to that of the Veloce 2. So again, if you are trying to buy a pair of Veloce 3s and you're trying to decide between the Veloce 3 and the DF model, weight really shouldn't be the deciding factor. They're both very lightweight shoes. It should really be all about what type of feel that you're looking for. As far as the aesthetics of the shoe are concerned, obviously it looks like the rest of the Mercurial models that aren't made from Flyknit. But of course, it does have the mid-cut design, which, love it or hate it, it's something that Nike is going to be doing for the next little while, or at least as long as it remains popular, and that's why this shoe exists. You have a combination of synthetic as well as this knitted material. The collar doesn't have to be here. The standard version of the Veloce 3 with its low-cut design would be perfectly sufficient, but there is a lot of demand for a mid-cut shoe at a lower price point. So that's why, again, this shoe exists. And I personally don't care for the look of the combination with synthetic as well as this kind of knitted material, but if you like how that looks, then maybe this is for you. The actual coloring of the upper is the same as the rest of the Spark Brilliance pack, at least for the Mercurials. You have the total crimson across the entire upper, and then the stripes, which are pink and black. Volt yellow Nike swoosh on the lateral side, Mercurial branding in Volt as well, and then one more Volt swoosh right there on the medial side. Black sole plate, Volt yellow studs, and again, pretty straightforward. Some people love the look of the new Mercurial, some people absolutely hate it. Unlike the Superfly 5 with its Flyknit upper, this does not have the kind of two-tone look. Only the Superfly 5 really has that, where the lateral side is orange and the medial side is pink. I think this looks a little bit better, just being one solid color all the way through, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. Alright, so here is a look at the Mercurial Veloce 3 DFs on feet. On my left foot I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of neon yellow with black dots SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're actually pretty comfortable from right out of the box. In comparison to the Vapor 11, being that this is a Tahitian synthetic upper, it does feel ever so slightly thicker in that it doesn't have quite the same kind of pliability to it, if that makes any sense. And that's not because the material isn't as soft, it's just because it isn't quite as thin. It still feels good, it's still flexible enough, it doesn't have that plasticky feel that you can get from a lot of thin synthetics. And for the most part, if you're looking for that barefoot feel, a super thin synthetic that wraps your foot very closely, you're gonna get it here from the Veloce 3, but again, not quite as thin as what you get from the Vapor 11. As far as the mid-cut aspect of the shoe is concerned, it does have pretty much the same overall feel in the heel area as that of the Superfly 5. So unlike the Obra and the Phantom 2 that are currently available, also mid-cut shoes, this has a little bit of a different cut at the heel that I would say is a little bit easier to get used to and arguably a little bit more comfortable in the long run as well. Still, if you pick these up, take your time with them during the break-in process, just because the way these mid-cut models kind of fit, it just takes some getting used to. So just take your time with the break-in process and you shouldn't have any issues as far as discomfort is concerned. I like the elasticated material across the top of the foot acting as the tongue. You really don't feel that at all, and it does have that kind of one-piece upper type sensation when they are on your feet, which is definitely a good thing. As far as fit is concerned, it is a tighter fitting shoe, not particularly wide by any means, but that's kind of typical of the Mercurial line, especially something that does have kind of a higher end shape like you get here. So if you have wide feet, probably not the best option for you, but if you've worn Mercurials in the past, you're probably not going to have any issues with these. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Alright guys, that is it for my review of the Nike Mercurial Veloce 3 DF. Expect to see more follow-up content on this shoe as well as the rest of the new Mercurial models very soon on the channel. If you guys are interested in more info on this shoe, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself. That'll give you a better idea as to how these actually do look in person. And of course, you also find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes. We'll be able to pick these up below their normal $170 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my show's social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.